Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talkin' Track. I'm Ryan Stillman, and with me, as always, is my incredible co-host, Aaron Halterman of Racing Dudes. Dude, how pumped are you for this week's final rounds of 100-point prep races?
Yeah, it should be great. We saw a couple of races last weekend that maybe we were a little bit disappointed in overall. But we did see a good performance. We'll talk about a couple of them here in a second. But yeah, to have the last three 100-point prep races coming, it's going to be great. We're going to see what happens. We've got a lot to discuss this week. It's going to be a big show. So yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and I said 100-point prep races. We'll talk about the Santa Anita Derby and what's going on there, guys. There's a lot to discuss. It's interesting. But let's jump into what we saw last week with a little game we like to call Bet or Pass. Last week, guys, we saw two Kentucky Derby preps, the Arkansas Derby and the Florida Derby. When the dust settled, we had some interesting horses that people are talking about. I asked Aaron if he would bet or pass on any of them for the Kentucky Derby based on what he saw. So here are the three we decided to cover today. Sandman, a bet for you for the Kentucky Derby. Tell me why.
Yeah, I think I have to respect him here. It's a horse I've been high on as far as talent goes, but very low on as far as the mental aspect of his game goes. He's just been his own worst enemy in several of these races. He did get a perfect setup in the Arkansas Derby. Let's start with that. So it wasn't like he did something extraordinary there. I mean, he got a blazing pace set by Cornucopian and Speed King. And you knew when that was happening, it was going to settle it up for Cold Battle, for Sandman, and for Publisher. So again, I listed three horses there. Sandman was the clear winner out of those three. You look at the gallop out, it was a huge gallop out for him as well. He was still a little bit quirky mentally down the stretch. You kind of look at him and go, man, he's not running straight. He's trying to do things to get himself beat, but it was still a decisive win. So I got to say that he's a bet now for the Kentucky Derby. I'm not sure, where I want to place him, whether it be for, on top or second or third or fourth, but I think he stamped himself as being legit. So yeah, I got to flip on Sandman this week and say, yes, I do think he's one you need to take a look at for Kentucky.
He's one of those interesting horses where you get a feeling, at least I do, he's like his own worst enemy. I see the talent, loves the distance, goofy down the stretch, but at this point, you just got to tip your hat. He did it. I know the pace helped him, but yeah, you have to take him seriously for the Derby now, don't you, Aaron?
Yeah, you just do. And again, like the counter is, hey, the pace was super hot and it set up well for closers. Well, that's kind of a situation we've been seeing as reality when it comes to the Kentucky Derby lately as well. So I wouldn't be shocked if we have a hot pace. And if so, I think he is one of the candidates. Now, again, he is goofy. He's going to have to be a little bit more mature. He took a step forward in that department in this race, even though he still was a little, weird down the stretch, like you said. So can he just kind of keep developing and kind of hit that at the right time? That's going to be the big question.
Another horse with a lot of questions won the Florida Derby. Tappan Street, a pass for you for the Derby. Tell me why he won.
I wasn't overly impressed with the Florida Derby as a whole. Tappan Street, though, I will say I was impressed at his level of improvement. This was just his third race. And I always want to be careful when we talk about this. We're talking about, can I bet this horse in the Kentucky Derby? Not, do I think this is a good horse? Because I do think he is developing. He's probably a race short, right? I'd love to see one more out of him. Let's see if he can take another step forward, and then he's a little bit better set up for the first Saturday in May. So I'm not against him. I just don't know that the Kentucky Derby is where you want to bet him. I think, later in the summer or even maybe, a race like the Belmont, just give him, a couple more months, and I think he's going to be where he needs to be. He's developing. I'm just not sure it's going to be in time for the Kentucky Derby.
You can't bet them all either, and that's a problem, right? So I respect that. You got to pick and choose. Steve Haskin, who we mentioned last week on the show, he wrote a wonderful article again this week, as he always does with the Derby. And one thing he talked about was Windstar feeling this was their best horse for the Derby this year, which is interesting because we're going to talk about River Thames later on in the show, who is another Windstar horse that a lot of people are very high on. I understand, Aaron. It'd be nice if this horse had some more foundation under him. The talent is clearly there. So I get the concern, but let's talk about the horse that was on everyone's lips coming into the race, Sovereignty, who finishes second. A pass for you for the Kentucky Derby. Tell me why.
I was super disappointed in Sovereignty, and I know there's people that are making a lot of excuses for him, and I get that a couple of them might be valid, but I just thought he would run a lot better. I really did. I was not overly impressed with Tappan Street. Again, not that I thought he was horrible, but I just wasn't overly impressed. And Sovereignty never really made up a lot of ground on him. Yes, they passed the other horses, and that's great. But, Sovereignty was about 2 leagues behind Tappan Street. They kind of moved in a tandem. So Tappan Street moved, and then Sovereignty went right with them. And he kind of just stayed the same margin behind him the whole way. And I thought that was super disappointing. I thought he had a little bit more burst. I thought he had a little bit bigger move. I do believe in trainer Bill Mott. I do believe he's going to run, better in the Kentucky Derby. He might not be fast enough, Ryan. And the more I kind of watch that race, I'm just like, oh boy, I'm not sure. So as of right now, he's kind of a pass for me when it comes to the first Saturday in May.
Pass for you for winning. I totally get it. Pass for you for hitting the board at this second. Where do you stand there?
No, I mean, I could see it happening. The problem with me is I think he's going to be one that's pretty heavily bet to hit the board, right? And I think maybe you could find some that aren't getting as much attention that might have an equal chance to do it. He's going to pass sired horses. He's going to come with the run. I just didn't like that he looks like more of a grinder versus just a horse that can make a quick move and then go after him. I don't know. That's a little bit worrisome for me. I think, third, fourth, that could be the ceiling for him.
So we talked about these horses. What's really fascinating is I feel the Derby trail just sort of reality hit us last weekend, right? A lot got exposed. A lot of things sort of came to light. What's really cool is coming forward now with these last 3 preps, we're going to get a ton of answers. This thing could become a mess, or it could become a horse is so dominant that he could even go for a Triple Crown attempt, because if he's better than what we're seeing, maybe he's just the best horse in this crop. I think that's what makes this weekend so fun. There's a story to this trail, and we're going to unpack it. But when we come back, what we're going to unpack is what my sister thinks about several horses with swiping with my sister. On the other side of this break, you're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned, and we'll see you there. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's time for another game of
Swiping with My Sister.
Okay, for those of you new to this segment, my sister is a champion equestrian rider. She's been sitting on horses since she was 11 months old. She doesn't pay one iota of attention to horse racing, but she studied horses her whole life. I showed my sister pictures of 4 Kentucky Derby hopeful horses. Just like online dating, you know how this goes. She's swiping solely based on looks. If she swipes left, the horse has left her unimpressed. If she swipes right, she thinks the horse has the right stuff to be a Kentucky Derby winner. She has tons of great insight. We had 4 horses to choose from today, all running in a Derby prep this weekend, and there are several Derby preps to choose from, so this will be fun. Aaron's going to guess how she swiped. Let's start off with Baeza, Aaron. Did my sister swipe left or right on Baeza for the Derby based on what she saw?
He's getting a lot of hype. I know that. So I'm going to go right on Baeza to kick us off.
Let's take a look.
Okay. Based off of looks, I think he's beautiful. I think he's got a really nice big stride. It looks like he's just coming into his own. Like you can see he's, based off of this other horse, he's like at a place in his, journey where like he's starting to drop into his rhythm. Like he's just, you can kind of tell when a horse is doing that. They look comfortable when someone's riding them. This one has that comfortability look to it. If you're a horseback rider, you get it. If you're not, it's a weird comment. I think it has the potential to win. I think, like I said, I think all these horses do on the right set of circumstances. I'm a little bit on the fence about whether this one would get first, maybe second. I don't know. I think I'm going to swipe right conservatively because I like him. I don't love him, but I like him. But I'll swipe right.
Wow.
I
think you nailed it with that one, man. How do you feel?
No, I like it. Yeah, that's exactly what we want there, right? Sometimes you do swipe ones on the thing you might like but not love, and that's clearly what she did there. She's probably done that in the past, Ryan, so I get it. I like it.
Well, okay, for you guys who are new to this game, what's interesting about that horse, if you're not familiar with it, his dam, the mom of that horse, is Puka. Puka, 2 years back, was the mother of the Kentucky Derby winner, Mage. Last year, her son, Dornock, won the Belmont Stakes. So this is as good of a mare as we've seen in recent times. So I can see that, right? Like, will he live up to his brothers? We'll find out. In the meantime, let's look at another horse who's making a lot of noise on the trail, or at least one people are interested in, Grande. Aaron, did my sister swipe left or right on Grande for the Derby based on what she saw?
Yeah, you picked the hyped horses this week, the horses that they think might be able to make a step forward. I'm going to go left on Grande this time, though.
Let's take a look.
Okay, first of all, it's a little bit hard to say because one, this is like a specimen of a horse. If you guys are looking at this based off of like not riding and not knowing horses, what you can see is that this horse is huge. Okay, the name totally suits it. Look at the jockey versus the horse, which I always try and tell you guys. Again, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make the difference of a win, but it makes the difference of a huge step. And a big horse with a big step can cover more ground. So I really believe that this horse in due time could come into its own, still carrying himself very high up. I don't think I'm going to swipe left for the Derby. Let me just start with that because I don't think he's winning the Derby. I think he's got a big enough stride that he could make the board if he gets into his own on that day. That being said, I don't think it's going to be the first race. I think it's going to be the third one. I think you'll see this horse potentially. Maybe he could win the third race. I don't know, but I'm still going to swipe left because I don't think he's going to get there in time. Big, beautiful horse. Love him. I think in the next year or so after the Derby, I think he's going to be a phenomenal horse that's going to win a lot of races. I don't see this horse winning right now.
That's spot on to me as far as the concerns with this horse, which is what's interesting. Don't you agree, Aaron?
Yeah, no, not a lot of foundation here, just 2 races. And I think could win the Wood Memorial. We'll talk about it a little bit later on the show. But yeah, I think that is the concern everybody has with this horse. It's like he's a little bit late to the game. Yeah, we'll see. That's going to be very interesting to see. But I think that's a very, very good analysis from her.
Well, we're talking Wood Memorial. Let's talk about a horse who's big on the New York circuit next. Dust Devil, who will be in the Wood Memorial. Did my sister swipe left or right, Aaron?
Sand Devil is what Ryan meant to say there. Yes. I'm gonna go left on this one. Boy, that's a nice picture though. I'll go left, but I'm a little bit worried.
Yes, and my apologies for that error in the name. Yes, let's see how she swiped.
It's very cute. I had an equitation horse years ago that I used to ride that looked just like this. I'm gonna swipe left. I do not see this horse winning. He looks tired in this photo, so I don't even see this horse getting to the Derby. He's cute. Again, looks exhausted to me. Muscles look tired. He just looks tired. Very cute though, but left.
I'd say I think a lot of people have concerns on that horse. It doesn't mean he can't do it. He's an interesting one though, because I think he is talented, don't you, Aaron?
I think we've established she doesn't really like the cute ones, right? He's cute, but no. Yeah, listen, I think what she said is probably true. I don't think this horse is going to make it either. Stretching out to 1.125 here for this race coming up in the Wood, I don't know if that's going to be best for him either. So I think she might be spot on once again, Ryan.
One more X factor to go in that race. The last horse, Statesman. Aaron, did my sister swipe left or right based on looks?
Yeah, everybody's high on Statesman. I'm not seeing it. Let's see if your sister sees it. I'm going to go left because I'm not high on him, but let's see what she says.
Let's take a look.
I would swipe left. He's underwhelming to me. He's not, he just doesn't really do anything for me. I think that he could probably make the board. I mean, he's, balanced and, he's got good, muscle tone and whatever, but, above that, this isn't giving me much and I can't really tell. So I'm just going to say left, but I mean, he's okay. Again, could he win? Sure. All of them could win given the right day, but I would highly doubt this one winning nor hitting the board. So I'm going to swipe left.
Very interesting. You called that one there, Aaron. Look, there's a lot of X factors in that race. And rather than just discuss what we've just seen, why don't we get to the Wood Memorial on the other side of this break? Aaron, phenomenal job with my sister. You guys were in sync with the swipes. Come swipe with us on the other side where we try to help you make some money. We're going to dissect the Wood Memorial, a win and you're in for the Kentucky Derby. See you when we get back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Saturday, race 12 at Aqueduct is the Wood Memorial. The winner of this race will earn 100 Kentucky Derby qualifying points. The runner-up will earn 50 points. Multiple horses could earn their way into the Kentucky Derby based on what happens here. I think this is one of the more intriguing Wood Memorials we have seen in a while, Aaron. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I do. I don't know the Kentucky Derby winner is going to come out of this. I do think a contender or two may come out of this. It is a kind of a 50-50 race on that standpoint, right? I do like 3 or 4 horses in here that could take step forwards and be that type to be like, hey, maybe they've got a shot. And a lot of times we don't get that out of the woods. Sometimes we do, but a lot of times we don't. This is going to be interesting. I think it's a very intriguing field. I think it's a very good betting race as well.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the main contenders, because there's a lot of ways to go, but these are the ones that I think really the story is going to be written about most likely, although you can make a case for others. The number one Rodriguez for Bob Baffert, Aaron. For me, and I think for you, this is a horse that has displayed some talent, but he's got some quirks about him. He doesn't handle the post parades very well, going to the gate, which is why he was shipped here. Is that correct? Do you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, Bob Baffert decided to bring this horse up to Aqueduct for the Wood because he didn't think there's be as many people as would be at the Bluegrass, was with the other thing under consideration for Rodriguez. He's had trouble. He acts up. If you watch his races, he kind of just runs in spots. You feel like he's kind of done and then he re-rallies, stuff like that. So yeah, he's a weird one, right? I don't know what to make of him. When he broke his maiden, it's like, okay, he's pretty good. We don't know what level, but he's pretty good. His last 2 races just haven't been that good. Maybe up here, quieter situation. But the flip side of it is you look at it and you think, well, okay, a horse kind of has some mental issues, let's just say, and you're shipping him all the way across the country. How's he going to handle that? He's at a track he's never been at, obviously, before. How's he going to handle that? So the more I handicapped it, I thought, yeah, I mean, he could win, as your sister likes to say, they all could win on a given day, but I just don't know if he's a likely winner in my opinion.
Yeah, I can understand that. What's always been my concern with this horse is the one time he won so impressively, he went right to the lead, set the pace, and clearly drew off. Ever since then, I haven't seen it. So he gets that chance here. If you like him, case made. Let's talk about Captain Cook. Major X factor, Aaron. I mean, I think to me at this very second, he's the most exciting horse on the New York circuit we have seen. How do you feel about this horse?
Yeah, he's very interesting, like you said. And last time out, he won the Wither Stakes very impressively. And so, our pedigree expert would probably sit here and tell you that Captain Cook cannot go a mile and an eighth based on the pedigree. And I would have to agree. But last time he did, and he did fairly impressively when he won the Withers. So, yeah, the distance doesn't worry me, even though, like I said, the pedigree is iffy. He did it last time, and he did it the right way. He set off the pace and just kind of crushed him down the lane. Now, the problem today is, well, not a problem, but a challenge today is, he's facing a much tougher field than what he faced in the Withers. There's better horses in here, but look, I thought there was nothing wrong. With the Withers whatsoever. What a nice stepping stone to this race. I felt like so. I like him. I think he's going to be tough. I think he's going to sit another really good trip today. There's speed out there, so he can just kind of sit off of them, just like he did in the Withers, kind of get first run. And I think he'll have the lead top of the stretch, and then it's just okay, who can come get him.
I absolutely understand that. And I think the real concern for this horse would be for the Kentucky Derby with his pedigree. I think here you're kind of maybe stretching the outer limits, possibly. He has done it before, but if you like him, I can see the case for this horse here. Sand Devil, number 5. He's a solid New York horse. He's got the highest time form number in this race. Maybe a flood zone romps, Aaron, in the UAE Derby, he beat this horse last time out. Maybe he becomes even more interesting. I wonder if he'll be able to rate, Aaron. That's one of the questions I have there. Board hitting horse for me, possibly. What do you do with this horse?
Not sure that the distance is going to be really good against this level of competition. I think that's going to be a little bit of an issue. A lot of these horses, are a little bit tougher even than what he faced last time out. Minus maybe Flood Zone, like you kind of said. Maybe he's a horse that will come back and run really well early in the morning in the UAE Derby. And if he does, then maybe it's, Sand Devil looks a little bit more attractive, there. But I just kind of question the level of the talent. I think he's a really good New York bred. I'm not sure he's an open company type. That's where I kind of, take a pause. I like him. I don't love him in this spot, though. I did not use him in this spot.
A horse a lot of people are loving is Hill Road. What are your thoughts on this horse for Chad Brown?
Yeah, he's the ultimate. I think he's going to improve second out 3-year-old season for Chad Brown. We've seen him do this time and time again, even with a horse like Sierra Leone, who won the 3-year-old debut last year. He turned around and improved greatly off that effort, even though the first effort was a win. Hill Road, Chad Brown said, I think he's 2 or 3 workouts short before he ran in the Tampa Bay Derby. He kind of looked it. He was a little sluggish, but he closed nicely. He galloped out nicely. He really should run well here. Second off the layoff, like we said, Chad gets him ready to go for this kind of spot. 1.125 miles should be really good for Hill Road. if the pace sets up, I think he's going to be tough to hold off. So yeah, I like Hill Road quite a bit here. I expect him to run a big race. I'd be shocked if he doesn't run his race. Is his race good enough? I think that's a question mark still for him, but I think he'll run a pretty solid race here.
Two quick X factors. Just tell me if there's anything here for you, Grande or Statesman. Any quick thoughts on either of those two horses?
I have major interest in Grande. I think he's progressing really nicely for Todd Pletcher. Got to take that next step, and that's always the one that's a big question mark, right? We can beat maidens, we can win an allowance race, now graded stakes. Can we do it? So question marks there, but I do like him. Statesman's not really for me. I don't see the hype in him. A lot of people like him, and I could be wrong, but he wasn't really for me. He has beaten a couple of fields there at Tampa that, weren't that great, but he did it the right way. I think he's in a little bit deeper here. I have a hard time going Statesman in this spot.
Ultimately, Aaron, where did you wind up with your pick?
I did go number 2, Captain Cook on top in this one, Ryan. I just kind of feel like after what we saw in the Withers, if he can kind of just do that again, it might be good enough to win. I don't think he needs to even really improve all that much. We saw him at 1 1/8. We saw him do really well at 1 1/8. So I'm going Captain Cook. I hope he stocks the pace just like last time and gets the job done.
I actually wound up on the same horse, but I'm really concerned about Hill Road. There's several horses that concern me here. Hill Road, will he change leads? Can Sand Devil rate? Is Grande ready for this sort of step up in class? The thing is, to me, I think Captain Cook will run his race. I couldn't decide who could beat him there. I think he holds on and gets it done very closely at the wire. So we'll see how it plays out. I went Captain Cook over Hill Road. On the other side of this break, we're going to talk about one of the most exciting races of the day, the Bluegrass Stakes. You're not going to want to miss it. Come back. Let's help you cash. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talkin' Track. Saturday, race 10 at Keeneland is the Bluegrass Stakes. The winner of this race will earn 100 points to the Kentucky Derby. The runner-up will earn 50 points. Multiple horses could wind up in the Kentucky Derby based on what happens here. Aaron, it feels like lately this race produces some promising horses that win and thrust themselves into the Derby conversation in a big way. And what's interesting about this particular running is this race is filled with X factors. What do we see? Do you feel the same way looking at this?
Yes. You could poke holes in all of these horses, and you could also make legitimate cases why they should win. So it's a mess of a race. I'm really not sure who's going to go off favorite. And a little bit is just kind of pick your poison in here. Look, in racing, you win, you lose, things happen, but sometimes you have, strong opinions and sometimes you don't. This is just one where it's like, I think you can have a strong opinion, but also look at it and go, well, yeah, there's a ton of reasons why this horse that I just picked could also lose the race as well. So it's a very unique race, a very unique running of the Bluegrass, but a fun one nonetheless.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the number 1 horse, River Thames. Irad Ortiz rides this horse for the first time. You get Todd Pletcher. Pletcher, it's hard to see him not getting a horse to the Derby, right? I mean, it doesn't feel right. We're so used to him being there. I think this horse is coming down here to throw down and get into the gate. What do you do with this horse, Aaron?
Well, he's a tough one because he did run pretty well in the Fountain of Youth. He did get beat by Sovereignty, but he got beat right at the wire, and you felt good. And then Sovereignty came back and didn't run quite as well in the Florida Derby, and then he kind of felt a little bit like, maybe River Thames was kind of slowing down and kind of helped him. And so it's a little bit of mixed signals. He's a horse that I don't really think wants to go 1 1/8. So I think that's going to be the big question mark. He does draw the rail. He does have a lot of speed. So I think he's going to try to take him gate to wire, but tough. It's tough to know what to do with him. He is the morning line favorite. I passed on him as far as a win, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's able to get the job done here. But he's a little bit questionable to me.
The number 3 Burnham Square. What do you do there? I mean, this is an interesting horse, isn't it?
It is. It's a horse that beat Tappan Street, in the Holy Bull. And so you felt like, okay, this is a good horse. Tappan Street comes back to win. However, Burnham Square's last race, not good at all in the Fountain of Youth. He got 4th. He was, kind of not a factor. So for him, it's like, okay, can he bounce back and run better here? Or was that kind of him? And maybe he took advantage of Tappan Street when he wasn't quite ready to run his biggest race. So you can go back and forth. You can definitely make a case for him, though. He's very interesting in the spot.
Another horse you can make a case for is Owen Almighty. I mean, what do you think about this guy, Aaron?
Yeah, he's definitely the one that has been hot, right? He really hasn't had a bad race his whole career. Last time out, he was super impressive in the Tampa Bay Derby. But like River Thames, the thing you know about Owen Almighty, while you know he's in good form and he had a win last time out and he's been running really well, you also worry about the mile and eighth with him as well, right? So I think that is a little bit of a worry. Can he get the distance? Big question mark here. But the talent's there. The distance, we're going to find out on Owen Almighty.
These last two big names, we're talking big names, guys, like horses people expected a lot from. East Avenue and Chancer McPatrick. Let's start with East Avenue. What do you do here, Aaron?
Yeah, you're gonna just have to bite the bullet, right? One way or another. This horse, after two starts, looked to be the best horse in the crop as a 2-year-old. Went to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile as a heavy favorite, stumbled badly out of the gate and didn't do any running. So you go, okay, I'm not really worried about that. That happens. Young horse stumbling, tough, right? His last race in the Risen Star, he was sitting in absolute perfect spot. He was tracking the leader, Magnitude, who went on to win the race by several lengths. So it's not like there was a pace collapse or anything like that. And East Avenue was sitting in second, biding his time. If he runs second in that race, you go, well, hey, he ran second to a freak performance, but he just went backwards once they started running, finished 10th, beating 22 lengths, just not a good effort whatsoever. Do you bet him on potential? Like the best race of his career came at Keeneland. That's good news, right? You're back at Keeneland where he won a grade 1 race as a 2-year-old, but who is he? Is he kind of done? I don't know. You don't worry about distance or anything like that with him. You just worry about what kind of horse is he and does he have anything left, which is weird to say after 4 races, but that Risen Star just wasn't good. So if you think he's going to bounce out of that, then I think he's got a huge chance to win. But can he kind of get back to the horse he was? That's a big question mark.
You mentioned the word chance. Let's talk about Chancer McPatrick. I mean, what's his chance in this race?
Yeah, I mean, stretching out to 2 turns, he's ran 2 races, and he just wasn't very good in either one of them. Tampa Bay Derby last time out, first start as a 3-year-old. We know Chad Brown, just like with Hill Road, we know Chad Brown will get him to run better. So I think Chancer McPatrick will run better. But is that going to be good enough? A lot of years when Chad Brown comes here and we think, okay, a horse is going to improve off that first effort, we're pretty confident that horse is going to win. Think about Good Magic and Zandon, right, are 2 that come to mind. Even a highly motivated horse that got second, he ran a lot better here. Chancer's going to run better, but is he really a 2-turn horse? I'm not sure after those 2 efforts. I think he has a shot, but that's the hole you can kind of poke at him. 2 races around 2 turns. None of them have been neither were nearly as electric as when he was racing around 1 turn and winning every start.
Where did you wind up, Aaron? Because it's such an intriguing race.
Yeah, it's tough. And like I said at the beginning, you got to pick your poison a little bit. And I stuck with the number 4, Owen Almighty, even though I'm the first to say I'm not sure a mile and eighth is going to be where it's perfect for him. However, I just think, he is the most talented of the horses here. He does have a win over Chancer McPatrick. I like him a little better than River Thames. Burnham Square, yeah, maybe that's a horse that can beat him, but I think he's a little more talented than him. And I just can't trust East Avenue after those 2 races. So I landed on Owen Almighty. And I go into the race knowing I'm not sure a mile and eighth will be the key or will be the best for him, but I'm not sure about that for a lot of horses in this race. So I defaulted back to the number 4, Owen Almighty.
I totally respect it. For me, I went with the number 3, Burnham Square. I think River Thames and Owen Almighty have to go to the front, and I think East Avenue goes as well. And something goes wrong with him as it seems to always be going lately. Now, these horses could all beat me, right? But here's the case I'm going to lay out. I think Owen Almighty and River Thames have distance question marks. I don't think this horse does. I think this horse takes over with a solid pace and gets the job done. He beat Tappan Street, and he looked good in retrospect with that. What if he bounced and runs big here? That's my pick. I can see it going a bunch of ways. On the other side of this break, we're going to see what we do with the Santa Anita Derby, the race of the weekend, maybe the race of the Kentucky Derby Trail. Come back. Let's help you cash. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talkin' Track. Saturday, race 10 at Santa Anita is the Santa Anita Derby. This field will be 5 horses only, and the winner of the race will earn 75 Kentucky Derby qualifying points. The runner-up will earn 37.5 points. There's a penalty now when there are less than 5 horses in a Derby prep. The points go down by 25%. If there is a scratch in this field, guys, it goes down to 4 horses, and the points decrease from 25% to 50%. So lots could be affected here, but the truth is the horse to beat in the Kentucky Derby likely will come out of this race at this second. This is the must-watch race of the entire trail, in my opinion. If you're into racing, you live for a moment like this. You can't miss a second of it. Aaron, how pumped, besides the fact that maybe the betting might not be the best, are you to see what happens in this race?
I'm pumped to see what happens for sure, but I am a little disappointed we only get 5 horses, and that, for a Santa Anita Derby, that's just sad. But we've got, the right couple, at least really the right 4 horses, talking about Journalism, Citizen Bull, Barnes, and Baeza. And yeah, look, Journalism ran the best prep of the season in the San Felipe, and it's just a matter of, okay, can he do it again? Can he build off that effort? If he can, he's going to win here, and he's going to be a big favorite for the Kentucky Derby. If he can't, it becomes a pretty wide open scramble unless one of these other horses are very impressive. So excited to see what happens. It's always weird when there's only 5 horses in the race, right? But I am excited to see how it plays out.
Now, I get that. I totally feel you on that. But here's the thing that's so interesting. There's a lot at play in this race, Aaron. I've been looking this over and over again. I love Citizen Bull. I love Journalism. I love Barnes, and I love Baeza. I mean, I'm a fan of all these horses. Baffert has been trying to take down Journalism for the last few races. Here's the thing. Citizen Bull is working so lights out. I mean, he's like the only horse we don't know if he's capable of beating Journalism at this point. What do you do in this case, man?
Yeah, it's tough. I think with Baffert, he'll send one to the front and he'll have the other one kind of stalk the pace right with Journalism, kind of stick to him and maybe try to bother him a little bit and hope that horse that's on the lead is able to hold him off. I think that's going to be the strategy. I couldn't sit here and tell you which one I think will be or which one I know, I should say, will be on the front and which one will kind of be the blocker, so to speak, to block Journalism. But I kind of speculate the way they're working. Citizen Bull is going to go to the front, and Barnes is going to kind of be with Journalism and kind of bother him or whatever. And then we'll see what happens. I think that's how the race is going to go. That could flip, though. We could see Barnes on the lead with Citizen Bull kind of stalking the pace, but I do kind of think the Bull goes to the lead and Journalism has to go get him. And Barnes, I guess, at that point has to go get him.
Are you concerned at all? Like, if I'm Baffert, I've got Citizen Bull. He's in the Derby. There's no points here. I've got this incredibly expensive horse in Barnes. $3.5 million, I think, is the price tag off the top of my head. Barnes needs to get in. He needs points in this race. On top of that, why am I going to try to completely shoot all of my horse's energy in this race when I might just be just as good of a chance of trying to zap Journalism of everything he's got in this race? And when I've gotten him gutted, I run Citizen Bull. He's the fresher of the horse, and I can take over the Derby. What is in it for Citizen Bull in this race to win? He gains nothing other than he's the Derby favorite. That's kind of my concern. Is there any legitimacy to that thought?
I think so. I think anytime you got Baffert out here in Southern California with multiple horses, there's always kind of a worry of, okay, who are we kind of setting it up for, right? And I think as analysts, we might make too much of that at times. But at a time like this, you're right. Barnes has to run top 2. So if you're going to take the approach of we need to set this race up, you're going to set it up for Barnes to get top 2, not Citizen Bull, because like you said, he's in the gate. The flip side of that is, though, it's never a bad thing to win the Santa Anita Derby. And that's kind of my thing I've always argued with, yeah, they're going to do this or this, and he's not cranked and this and this. I don't buy it. When you get to this point in the game, you're trying to win these races. The Santa Anita Derby is still a very important race to have on the resume. So, but again, with Baffert, he's kind of playing chess when everybody's playing checkers type of guy. I can see him doing some weird stuff in here. No, I'm not going to act like that's not a possibility.
Ultimately, how did you see the race, and who did you go with for your pick?
Ultimately, I just think, look, Journalism last time out probably shouldn't have won. Barnes had a great trip, and Journalism was able to beat him. So I'm going to go Journalism again. I think they can mess with him all they want. I think there could be a loose leader all they want, but I think Journalism, if he can run back to that San Felipe, I don't think it's going to matter. So I've got Journalism on top. I think it's going to be awfully tough. If he wins here, he's probably going to be my Kentucky Derby pick. So excited to see it. Journalism on top for me.
If you had to go with an alternate here, because there's a few ways to go, where are you going for second for your pick?
Citizen Bull. Citizen Bull has been either number 1 or number 2 on my list the entire year. I've got much respect for him. A lot of people kind of wrote him off. It's Citizen Bull for me. I think if there's going to be an upset, it will be from Citizen Bull.
I see it the exact same way. I really think Journalism, he's working out lights out, right? Like I saw Citizen Bull's workouts and I thought, man, this is going to be hard to pick against, but Journalism's working phenomenal. So I think you have to be the champ you have to beat the champ to be the champ. So this could be his moment where he elevates, right? So I'm going journalism over Citizen Bull. And then I kind of went Baeza in third. Just I feel like the price will be right. Barnes, I don't know. And honestly, guys, I wouldn't look past Barnes. He's a very good horse. So it's a fun race. We're probably going to see the Kentucky Derby favorite come out of it. You're not going to want to miss it. On the other side of this break, you're not going to want to miss us dissecting our new top 10. A lot's changed. Come back, talk more track with us. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talkin' Track. We're back with our Kentucky Derby update. It's time to take a look at the Kentucky Derby top 10 as Aaron and I see it. Now, first thing you guys are going to notice, there have been a lot of changes. 2 horses have fallen off our list, Cornucopian and Flood Zone. There's been some rearranging. 2 horses have made our list, Sandman and Tappan Street. You guys are not going to want to miss the rest of this trail because it's just going to keep changing. Aaron, any thoughts on what we've changed and updated you want to talk about?
Well, I think the biggest thing is Sandman. Sandman being up to number 3 and kind of just proving that, hey, maybe he is starting to put it together a little bit. Maybe he is a horse that we need to take a little bit more serious. Because, again, talent-wise, I think we took him serious. It just mentally we didn't, and he is by Tappan, and they're kind of crazy. But he did make some progress. He still has progress to go. So Sandman, obviously, that's huge that he's into the top 5 there. Past that, I still think we're just kind of waiting around, we dropped Sovereignty a little bit, we'll see how that goes. Cornucopian, obviously a one and done type of situation there, but we'll just kind of see how it goes this weekend. That final list is going to be the one that really matters after this weekend.
There's going to be so much moving and shaking. I really think it's interesting. You kept Coal Battle number 5. We both did, but do you want to talk about that? Because it's another horse people have a lot of thoughts on.
Well, look, I didn't think he ran all that well in the Arkansas Derby, but I did think he just kind of earned the chance to kind of have a dud. He hasn't had one yet. I also think in a weird way, that pace was so fast. He's tried to run with it, for a good 5-10 seconds. And I think it took a little bit out of him. He never did really relax. He made a move like he was going to win, and then he just got tired. So I didn't hold it against him. I thought, it's kind of a sneaky, weird trip, as what I would say, that maybe kind of caused a little bit of his problems there. So don't give up on him. There's still a lot left with Coal Battle.
And I obviously agree. It's our list. And it's cool to see our top 2 horses are facing off in the Santa Anita Derby. So everything's up for grabs. With up for grabs, let's grab something out of the mailbag. We have a question from the fans this week from a good fan of the show, Haley McCarver. She asks, could you give me some long shots you like for the Kentucky Derby? Well, Haley, we've got 2 for you this week. I'm going to let Aaron take the first one. Publisher, do you want to talk about this horse, Aaron?
Yeah, let's kind of look at the maiden, and how cool would it be if a maiden won the Kentucky Derby, almost won the Arkansas Derby, but it won the Kentucky Derby. You look at this horse, he's kind of like Sandman in a way where he just keeps getting better and better. Now, he's got to find some way to get up and actually win in the Kentucky Derby, right? But Flavien Prat sticks with this horse, all through the Triple Crown Trail here. And look, it's just one of those things. He keeps getting better. He still has to go out and win a race. He's kind of like mentally, I think he's there more than Sandman. It's just like the talent level I'm not sure about. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think First Publisher has a chance in the Kentucky Derby based off what we saw in the last couple of preps.
I'm with you, Aaron, as well as what if Flavien sticks with this horse in the Derby? You'll have a huge price in him, and you always feel good when you put your money on Flavien in a Derby. At least I do. I feel like I'm going to get as good of a trip as I can get. The other horse we want to talk about is Luxor Cafe, the Japanese horse. Guys, this horse is highly regarded. This last weekend, he won impressively. He's won 4 straight races. His dam is also the dam of Cafe Pharaoh and American turf star Regal Glory. Cafe Pharaoh eventually reigned as Japan's champion dirt horse. Regal Glory went on to be Eclipse Award-winning champion turf female for Chad Brown. The only thing to note, guys, is the connection said they would make a decision on the status of this horse for the Derby today, Wednesday, which is when we're taping this. So by the time you see this in this airs, he might be going or he might not be. But I think I would take this horse seriously. Japan is on a roll out there, and you just can't disregard their horses.
Yeah, absolutely. And it wouldn't be weird, like a year where we haven't talked a lot about Japan, they come over and win it, where last year they maybe should have won it with Forever Young. And we had a lot of talk about him. And then, it didn't happen, obviously, but he was very close. this one's kind of flying under the radar right now. We'll see. We'll also might get a Japan horse this weekend as well that we can talk about for a later time. But Luxor Cafe, at least keep an eye on the decision and what they're going to do with him.
I couldn't agree more. Guys, that's our show for the season. I want to thank Big Play Sports, especially Layla Corey, Ken Miles, Ryan Smith, who's been behind the boards here, Jack O'Rourke, Nick, Carolyn, and Matt Fontana. On the racing side, I want to thank Paul Withrow for his incredible future bets, and Jared Welch of RacingDudes.com, John White, the legend himself, my mentor, Steve Haskin of Secretariat.com, pedigree expert Ryan Campbell of Risen Storm Thoroughbreds, my sister, Jennifer Stillman, for all of her fun, insights, and swipes. I mean, it's been a blast, but I have to particularly make a very big shout out to my incredible co-host and friend, Aaron Halterman. I mean, this has been like the journey of a lifetime getting to do this, particularly this season. Aaron, the Derby is about to take off. Everything's going to change over. RacingDudes.com is going to have you covered. Blinkers Off is my favorite show. I've been following you guys. I've been your friend for such a long time. When you guys, before you even started the podcast, what are things people can look for over there that they can get excited about?
Yeah, pretty much everything you see on this show, plus more at racingdudes.com. You can definitely check it out. Blinkers Off is the main podcast. We also have a Magic Mike show. We have Dudes Who Bet Sports, and then obviously a full website with picks every single day. So a lot going on. Of course, the Kentucky Derby season has, it's almost here, right? We're about a month away. So a lot going on. Very busy over at the website. You can always check us out over there. I think you'll see us again someday soon as well, Ryan. So we've got a lot going on. But check out Racing Dudes. We've always got you covered day in and day out for horse racing.
Absolutely. I want to thank all of you fans for the kind words and feedbacks. They have meant the world. The Racing Dudes, like I said, they're covering it. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm as big of a fan of theirs as anyone. We'll be back next season. This isn't over. I'm signing off for now. I'm Ryan Stillman. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck with all your bets, and thanks for talking track with us.